What's the no one reason for you to live? Story 1. I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of passing. I don't care what anyone says or tries to convince me otherwise. I'm afraid of it. Answer. Honestly, just seeing your response and the replies to it reminds me I'm not alone in constantly thinking about my own mortality or the existentialism of it all. I'm not afraid of passing or dying, but I am afraid of losing the connections with the people I love in any capacity, but especially fully in passing. I have to believe there's a purpose for all of this life I've lived. It can't just be nothing. Story 2. Every breath of air that I take, every sip of cold water, every bite of a warm cookie, every wistful glance at a sunset, they're all finite experiences. The amount of times I will be allowed to laugh alongside my loved ones until my ribs ache is 100 numbered. I could do it 10,000 more times, or I could do it only 12 more times. Life is precious to me because it is precious. It wasn't very long ago, a few years, that I was deeply tragic and somewhere along the way I realized how temporary everything is. Instead of allowing that to instill fear in me, I let it motivate me to take every chance I get in life. To bite my tongue when the monkey brain wants to say something mean in an argument. To put my phone away at a restaurant. To live completely and constantly. So me no one. Reason to live is because one day I won't be able to. I hope that's not a shoot answer at all. Answer. That's exactly my answer too. There's no reason to rush towards passing. I have an eternity to be dead, but I only have 70 to 90 years to be alive. So, why not enjoy my time here and appreciate all the good things in life while I can? Assuming this life is the only chance at existence that I'll ever get, I won't ever get to enjoy anything again once I leave this world. Story 3. My cat. She's my baby. She can't even stand when I leave for my classes. I can't even imagine how hurt she'd be if I were gone permanently. Answer. My cats are the only reason I get out of bed some days. They need food, clean litter, attention, help. My boy sits in the hall and cries if there's something wrong that he thinks I can fix. Lost toy, found a bug, ants. My girl is a nervous little girl who isn't really comfortable around anyone but me. I've been extremely sick for over a year now, and they're glued to me. If anything were to happen to them, I genuinely wouldn't make it. Story 4. I'm old. Everyone is gone. But I learn things every day. When I was young, I thought I should learn something new every day, but now I know that learning only one thing isn't nearly enough. Humans have an unlimited capacity to learn. I remember my grandpa, born in the 1800s, saying live and learn, die and forget it all. I don't know if our data are exactly forgotten or if we collect it and it's assimilated in a way we can't imagine. But it's something I enjoy and look forward to doing every day. I'm lucky to be able. I know there are people my age and younger who think they are too old to use a computer and young people who don't care to learn. Both sets are miserably content in their ignorance and are each prone to not understanding how to determine facts from BS. It's been fun chatting with you, and now I need to get back to my studies. What shall I read? There's still so much. Story 5. This right here scared me a little. I want to come up with something, but I cannot. I should say my husband, my dog, and cat. However, I'm not sure. I have CRPS and trigeminal neuralgia, and I feel like a burden. Although realistically, I know they don't feel that way. Wow, this question hit me hard. Answer. I am so sorry to hear you have trigeminal neuralgia. My mom had that back in the 80s, and she suffered so much from the pain. She had MS also, which made it a risk for her. It was difficult finding a doctor who knew what to do, but eventually one sent her to the hospital where they eliminate the nerve. I can't remember if it was an adult beverage injection or if was done electrically, but I remember that was the options. After that, she was a tiny bit numb on one side, but otherwise cured, I hope you can find relief from it too somehow. Story 6. The homeless, hungry cats I feed. They belong to other people that either don't feed them or don't give them enough to eat. It is a disgrace. Story 7. When my younger brother died in a motorcycle accident, we went to pack up his house, and I found my mom sitting quietly on the edge of his bed, holding one of his hoodies to her face because she could still smell her child on it. I'll be god darn if she's having to do that twice. Story 8. My rescue dog, he's a little vicious and feral, old and senile, but he loves me. He's my little soulmate, but he attacks everybody else and anybody would put him down. He's so cute though. I kinda like it when he bites people. Story 9. My best friends. I recently moved from Alabama to Baltimore and am living with two of my closest friends, and they've changed my life in so many ways. I want to do the same for them. Story 10. I have no real reason to live. All I remember is my family constantly arguing, screaming at each other. My father was never there, and I have not even met him. My mother never truly understood me, and her approach to some things destroyed the few situations I had a good contact with someone. I was raised in a poor environment. One meal a day at 5 p.m. was often the norm. I was constantly bullied for 80 of my obligatory education period. I have always found it hard to connect. I have never experienced love, and I was never even close. Getting a partner? Impossible. I've been closer to passing than a date. I was a decent footballer, but when I was 15, I suffered an injury due to which I couldn't walk for a month and was unable to play for the next 6. Effectively eliminate all my motivation and severely hindering my skills. I have never felt like anyone ever understood me, and I had to find it in myself. I do like my life now, but I am still forever alone, still far from a good relation with anybody. My family is still in pieces, and my life has no real purpose. The good thing is that I've always found happiness in small things, and I live off of that. Whenever I beat a level in video game, fix something at home by myself, eat something tasty, or find out an interesting thing, I cherish these moments. It's going fine, even though I have no idea what I'll be doing later in life. For now, these small things are sufficient, and I hope to just get enough money to survive. Story 11. To outlive people like Trump and Esk. In all seriousness, for me, it's resistance. I'm trans, and as long as I'm living, I'm fighting. I won't stop fighting. Story 12. To work on AI models for cancer research and do my small part in making sure that humanity absolutely destroys cancer. Cancer, eliminate my mom. Now my only mission in life is to do everything I can to ensure nobody suffers like my mother and no family is destroyed like ours because of cancer. Story 13. At this point, it's spite. I know the world is circling the drain, and most don't seem to want to do anything about it. Sure, there's curiosity as to just how bad things will get, but I think spite, or maybe my son, who I love more than anything on this planet. I suppose spite would be the jokey answer, and son would be the legitimate one. But I am incredibly spiteful towards the likes of Trump and other insane people living in factless realities. Story 14. My dog and debt. No one's gonna take care of her if I died, and my debt would be passed on to my mother. I'd leave behind nothing good. I was living for love before, and maybe even for the hope of an afterlife better than this. I'm struggling to believe in those anymore, but I know it's not fair to die and leave other people worse off for it. Someday, I'll leave something good behind. Story 15. I didn't come this far just to keel over. Others need me to stay alive so they have a chance, and I won't let them down. Story 16. I have to keep going so I can help other people, even if the world feels too loud or too painful at times. Story 17. Italian greyhounds are known to live extremely long lives. I cannot tell you how many 19-year-old Iggies I have seen through social media. According to this timeline, I have another 17 years with my soul dog, and many more with all the dogs he sends me from the Rainbow Bridge. In case you were wondering, I did cry typing this. I cannot even think of him getting old. Story 18. My wife deserves the stability she never had growing up, and my son deserves to grow up with a loving father. Story 19. Tragic end is actually quite difficult. Wanting to die and carrying out the task is actually quite demanding. SLT risks? Kinda painful and not guaranteed to work. PL cocktail? Imagine on your tombstone popped a parkineshyanst, proven to fail on multiple occasions, which is a bit awkward in itself. Also, not everyone has one and going to the extent to purchase a license and everything. Pass ID rather in the rain or a cold shower or a nice soup and sandwich. All of this to say, small giddies and dilly-dallies add up. There's no one reason. Yesterday it was some long goal of becoming a professor. Today it was my own thoughts. Sometimes they come up with some funny stuff, and I dislike to miss the next thought. Bultus, the thought, was while I was on a walk. Before the walk I had pooed and forgot to grab wet wipes, so I had to use TP. I started thinking ab people at war back in the day. Like imagine not being able to run full speed, BCU booty hole itch. Answer. This is an anti-tragic insight that actually describes the various methods and the likelihood of success, thereby showing you may not die but live with pain, disfigurement, more mental health issues. It's an unusual approach, lost all hope. As for me, I didn't die, but I made a lot of people angry. Many people don't trust me anymore. ESP wife. And that's just the tip of the turd. Story 20. My wife. When I got cancer, she dropped everything and took care of me. She doesn't want me to die. That's what keeps me going. Story 21. I make the world a better place for at least a few people and animals. I know they would be sad if I didn't. I have 100 other reasons though, and listing them can always make me feel a little better, no matter how small each reason may be. Story 22. My cat. I'm pretty convinced he'd be absolutely shattered and confused if I wasn't in his life anymore. Story 23. Naked hairless cats. I have Sjogren's, juvenile glaucoma, temporal lobe epilepsy, CFS, Behçet's, and 15 years of persistent thrush from my tongue into my stomach. So life is a little bitty hard. But godarn if sphinxes are the most loving little flesh goblins out there. Story 24. Spite. I need to live long enough to know that everybody involved with my childhood is dead. I figure if I make it to 110, that should do the trick. Story 25. Because if I eliminate myself, they would put my rescue dog down because he's a little vicious, but he loves me. I'm alive because he's alive. Story 26. My 2 fur babies, both rescues and one literally rescued last year from the streets after a brutal winter storm. I honestly don't know how she survived that considering she's a tiny dog. I can't have both of them go through something traumatic again. Story 27. Our main object in life, she said with amusement, is to be alive. I think you humans may have forgotten this one. The Book of Merlin. The Unpublished Conclusion to the Once and Future King by T.H. White. Story 28. I'm transgender, and I've heard people say, your existence is an act of resistance. And I kinda try to live by that now. Nothing pisses Republicans off more than me living a happy, fulfilled life. I will grow old and thrive out of spite if nothing else. Story 29. My dogs. If I'm gone, someone just gonna stick them in the Humane Society, and maybe someone will adopted them, but more than likely they'd be out down. They've given me their all. I owe them that much. Story 30. I haven't finished all the books I want to read. Cats exist, and I'm terrified of what could happen after passing. Story 31. Most philosophers, even those pessimistic ones, say that while living is bad overall, it's still better than the unknown, which comes after dying. Story 32. To overthrow this government that protects child violation, rings run by our intelligence agencies in order to control our government. As a second, to get people to realize that the Democratic and Republican Party only pretend to be enemies. The two parties, at least at the federal level, are complete illusions. Their supposed animosity against one another is only played in front of cameras. Politics is the entertainment complex of the military-industrial complex. Story 33. My son. He thinks I walk on water and is amazed by the most simplest things. Adore my child, and he's my motivator and reason every day to live. Story 34. What dreams may come. In the movie, there's a scene about what happens to people who commit tragic end, and it stopped me. That, and like how it would affect people in my life. Story 35. Honestly, my number one reason to live is my person. We've never met in person yet. We're long distance and we met online. And I know to some people that might not sound like much. They might say it's not real or question how deep a connection can be without physical presence. But I promise you, it's real. It's real in the way he messages me every morning just to say, good morning, even when he's tired. It's real in the way he listens when I need to vent, even when he's had a rough day himself. It's real in the way we both make time for each other, across time zones and busy lives. What most people don't understand about online love is how deep it can go. We don't have the distractions of physical presence, no hugs, no dates, no hand-holding, just words, hours of conversation, vulnerability. Nights spent talking about things we never told anyone else. He saw parts of me I've always hidden, and instead of running, he stayed. Every time. He's my best friend, my safe place, the one person who makes me feel like my existence means something. When the world feels heavy, he's the one I go to. When I'm spiraling, he's the calm in my storm. And yeah, sometimes the distance hurts. Not being able to reach out and physically touch the person you love, it's brutal. But at the same time, the love we've built across the distance is stronger than anything I've ever known. It's proof that love is just proximity. It's presence. It's choosing each other over and over again, even when it's hard. I think about the future a lot. About the moment I finally get to hug him for the first time. To look him in the eyes without a screen between us. That thought alone has saved me more times than I can count. Oh, and the way he's passionate about being Islamic. It's one of the most beautiful things about him. He doesn't force it or flaunt it, but it's in the way he carries himself, the way he speaks with intention, the peace in his words. It grounds me. He's my constant, the love that lives in time zones and typed words, but feels closer to my soul than people I see every day. His faith gives his love depth, and his presence gives me hope. So yeah, he's my number one reason for me to live in a world that can be so cruel, yet so beautiful at the same time. Story 36. When I adopted my cats, I promised they'd never be abandoned again. They trust me, and I refuse to harm innocents. Story 37. My cat, sure he could sustain himself from my body for a while, but what if he didn't get the love and care and spoiling from someone else? Plus, I kind of want to see how this fever dream of a society turns out. Will the superpowers go to war with each other? Will AI take over? Will aliens come down and save us from ourselves? Will yogurt ever become sentient? Story 38. I stubbornly refuse to give up that easily. Things have been tough for me, my kids, my pets, but there's still a chance something good will eventually happen, and I want to be there when it does. Story 39. Spite. I want to prove my depression wrong and eventually live the life it tells me I do not deserve. Story 40. Love and affection of a non-intimacy nature. I didn't really get enough gentle love and affection as a kid, and it caused me to seek it elsewhere, leading to some terrible choices that fudged me up for a long time. And honestly, to this day, I want to be the person who gives you cookies and trinkets and other little happies just because. I 3D print and paint fun little doodads and give them to friends, family, and patients for free. If you look like you need a hug, I'll ask for permission to do so. And if you say yes, I'll give you the biggest and squeezingest hug you've ever had, physical. Connection is so important, and a lot of people are absolutely starved for it. You're $1 or $2 short for your purchase? I'll just give it to you from my tip jar. You can vent to me and ask me anything about anything. Nothing is ever too embarrassing, gross. Medical stuff is my jam anyways, so I'm more than happy to help you try to figure out WTF that thing on your right calf is. This does get me into trouble occasionally when someone mistakes my words and actions for intimacy interest, and I have to be wary of people who try to take advantage of the kindness of others. But I always make my intentions clear and do my best to balance how much time and energy I give to others vs my own needs. TLDR, spite wasn't potent enough, so I switched to love. Story 41. Put simply, there's plenty of time to see the other side. Simple but important reasons. Family, friends, pets. I think most people can feel attachment and belonging to at least one of those three. Hobbies. Finally getting to play that game you've been waiting so long for. Watching the sequel to that awesome movie a couple summers ago. Finishing the last chapter in a trilogy of books. Trying a new hobby and discovering joy in it. For me, that is painting miniatures. Discovery. Traveling to a national park, historical city, museum, or discovering an amazing restaurant. One of the highlights of my life involved traveling, which I absolutely dislike. I agreed to book our honeymoon in Jackson, Wyoming. Standing in front of a big lake on a clear summer day, seeing the snow-tipped mountains on the horizon being reflected onto the lake, is 100 the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. Riding a raft down the Snake River with the Grand Tetons next to us, wildlife peeking out around us was unforgettable. If there's anyone out there reading this who is in a dark place, it is possible to escape that place. It's not without effort. It's not without hurdles. It can be incredibly difficult, but it is 100 worth it to make that effort. I've been in that dark place, on a hospital bed recovering from a tragic end attempt. Hear me when I say, take that trip, read that book, ask that crush of yours out to dinner. Adopt that cat. Live the life before you. There's plenty of time to see the other side. Story 42. This quote by Henry Rollins. If you dislike your parents, the man, or the establishment, don't show them up by getting partied too hard and wrapping your car around a tree. If you really want to rebel against your parents, outlearn them, outlive them, and know more than they do. Story 43. Honestly, there's a running joke that God keeps trying to eliminate me, but the devil keeps saving me. I should have been dead many times over by now. My brother in SEL told me I'm not allowed to officially die until One Piece is 100, done with no more remakes or new merchandise. I'm gonna live forever then. Story 44. Aside from all the peeps in my life, I feel like eliminate myself would be like walking out of a movie I may never see again. A very important movie. I'm just too curious to know how my life would happen if I just let it play out in full. I get passively tragic end, and this is part of what makes me never act on it ever and not have the desire to. Story 45. My girlfriend, my dog, my niece and nephew, my mom, all good reasons. But if I'm being honest, the reason I live, the means by which I overcame my own destructive thoughts once upon a time, is sheer goddamn stubbornness. I want nothing more than to see how everything that's come to pass plays out, and I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna let life take that from me. Story 46. The obvious answer is my wife, kids, and dog. On a deeper level, to max out my positive stats so I level up on the next spawn. Story 47. to have loving and intimate intimacy as many times as I can experience it. Otherwise, I don't see much of a point in living as a human being for myself. There's not much else I care for to that extent. Story 48. I have no idea. I keep waking up every day. There's a reason I'm here. I don't know what it is or why I am here. I'm here for some reason. God keeps keeping me alive. Story 49. Because I'm scared I won't fully die if I eliminate myself. So until there is a guaranteed way to eliminate myself, I'm gonna have to stay alive. Story 50. Good question. I've been asking myself this question a lot the last several months. I don't really have one, and I'm about done looking. Just turned 50, and I really thought I would have been at a different place by now. I even have the exit plan, but I'm taking a little time to make sure I can't find one. Story 51. No point in dying. It's useless. I have been existing for so long. At the worst point in my life, when I wanted to let go, I told myself I haven't lived yet. So how can I die? I decided to teach myself how to live. Story 52. There are people and dogs who need me, but one is my selfish self because I enjoy stuff too much to give it up just yet. Story 53. What my first real and close friend ever said to me in text was how no one really ever wants to be their friend, and I did. Story 54. Because this is the only life I will have, and I want to get to the natural end of it and look back with happiness. I don't believe in an afterlife or reincarnation, so this is all I'm gonna get. Story 55. My pets need me, and if I die, my fiancé will be alone. I've seen my elderly patients when their SO passes. Very depressing. I've had 2 of them follow them to the grave. Sometimes it's nice to actually be able to help people. There are more games to play, funny videos to see, new places to go and see. Story 56. My mom. She's already lost too many people close to her that she loves. My doggo. He needs me, makes me feel loved on my worst days. Story 57. Because some people don't have the opportunity to live, whether it's illness, accidents, or whatever. And today, and however long life chooses, I woke up, so I'm going to try and make the best of it while I still can. Story 58. I have learned to find happiness in the little things. A glass of cold water on a hot day. The sweetness of a ripe fruit. The sunshine through the leaves. Everything sucks, but man, do I want to let them win? I'm gonna find little bits of happiness, or die trying. Suppose I win either way. Story 59. My children. My wife family. The next beautiful sunrise, sunset that peeks over the horizon and brightens the sky just right. Beautiful sights, good food, good intimacy, good TV. Elder Scrolls 6, GTA 6. Moving away from Alabama. LOL, having my dream house. Winter fall. Story 60. Fear of what's next. I'd have been dead and gone long before now if I weren't afraid of it. I'm so goddamn tired. Story 61. I have so much more to accomplish and people to help heal while I'm here. It keeps me going, knowing I make a difference in people's lives. Story 62. Experiences as many as I can get. Hanging out with friends, laughing really hard, loving someone, heartbreak, intimacy, with exciting variations, adventure sports, quitting job and starting a business, failing, succeeding, eating food, with cultural variations, interesting stories via books, movies, shows, friends, elders, sleep peacefully, solve problems for others, travel, with exciting variations, raise children, and the list goes on. I don't necessarily think life has meaning or that one person can make a huge difference. But you've been given a mind and a body that has 5 senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Might as well endure this life with experiences that stimulate these senses. Story 63. My daughters, in their 20s, still really like having me around. Neither are married or has kids, but I know they want me around for that too. It's not that I want to die. I enjoy life. I just wouldn't be upset if we all ceased to exist. I'd dislike to leave others behind and upset though. I know there are some that would take it particularly hard. Story 64. I've been tragic in for many, many years now. I knew I had to do something, so I got a dog. She loves me, fully. I could never Keems and leave her sad and wondering if I'll come back. I'd hurt her so much. I can't do that. Story 65. My cat, she's the coolest. In a weird way, I am excited to see what the hell happens after I go. If it's nothing, just throw me in the trash. Story 66. My little sister. Seeing how mad at me and hurt she was when she saw my SH marks changed everything. I've been clean since, 8 years and going strong. Story 67. My twin brother. When he goes, I go. My kids are adults. Grandkids are teens absorbed in their own lives. Wife will be okay. I'm out. Story 68. I generally have no anxiety. I don't let stress and most things get to me. But the thought of passing absolutely terrifies me. Story 69. I wake up every day against my will. No meme. Please let it end, just like an asteroid. Or maybe the Titans coming back or something. For context, I'm American and am not joking. Please send help. Story 70. The fact that there might still be things out there that can surprise me, songs I haven't heard yet, people I haven't met, places I haven't seen, laughs that sneak up on me, or little moments like a cat curling up in my lap. Tiny reminders that life isn't only made of pain. Yeah, everything can feel heavy. But deep down, I hold on to the hope that somewhere, quietly, something beautiful could still show up. Story 71. Honestly, I wish I was never born. 100. Born into poverty. This question would be so much easier if that were the case. LOL, I dislike it here. It's dumb, forced to work, always trying to survive. Rather, it's food, exercise, education, etc. Forced to compete in life for everything. Get to watch rich, wealthy people on TV, internet. It's just really freaking dumb. Health problems. I find no beauty in life. I could go on and on. But I've forced myself to remain here, to raise children I created. So there's that. Sigh. Story 72. I really enjoy being alive. Not in a trivial way. Life is not easy. It's often a struggle. But whatevs, I choose not to allow negative experience prevent me from being open to happiness. Story 73. My family loves me, and if I ended my own life, I would be hurting them in a way that they just would not heal from. That would be the most selfish and ungrateful thing I could ever do. Story 74. To see what all I can accomplish considering I didn't think I would live this long. I've come too far not to see this shoot all the way through. Story 75. Right now, it's taking care of my mother and sister. With hopes of achieving some dreams, I want to travel the world a bit and have a peaceful life. Story 76. At the moment, I need to take care of my mom and stepdad. She's mentally challenged, and he has Parkinson's and dementia. There is no other family. If that wasn't the reason, I love my husband, and I enjoy my life, even seeing the birds outside doing bird stuff. Story 77. Why not? Life can feel dull, but passing seems even more boring. Might as well stick around. I watch the news and politics like it's a TV drama. Story 78. As far as I know, it's the only time I'll get to experience it. Once you're dead, it's very likely you will be dead forever. What's the rush? Story 79. My wife. She can't always prevent the bad stuff that is inevitably a part of everyone's life, but she makes the hard times good and good times amazing. I can't believe how lucky I am. Story 80. I'd like to know if I ever heal my nervous system from all the trauma I've endured, which I feel like has stolen a huge part of my childhood. I don't want to heal completely, but at least enough where I can experience love, joy, laughter, anger, relationships, friendship, all healthy, with hardship but amongst PPL who handle hardship with peace. Story 81. Love. You never know what's right around the corner in life. Whether good or bad, love is a reason for you to live. I fell in love really hard once. It was something I never experienced before, and not sure if I will again. We are divorced. When I first met my ex, I was stepping off a ferry on a super hot summer day. We had been talking for weeks, and the moment I looked up and saw him, a voice in my head said, "You're going to marry him." In a split second, I just knew. We ended up spending something like 12 hours together. We wandered through Port Jefferson and the little shops, sharing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We had our first kiss under a huge tree tucked behind a row of storefronts. It felt like a whirlwind. I caught the last ferry home that night and sat on a bench looking out to the Sound, thinking my life is totally going to change. Just one day shifted my life completely. After years of heartbreak, rejection, and disappointment, I had found someone who felt so full of life, love, and depth. Unfortunately, he wasn't willing to work on our marriage. He ended up treating me in ways that were cruel at times. Still, when you truly love someone, you forgive, and they were all forgivable. And I never matched his cruelty. I couldn't, because I genuinely loved him and still do in some ways. But sometimes love, no matter how real, just isn't enough, I guess. But with that, I experienced true love for however brief a time. I know I'll feel it again. I know I'm capable of deep love. Knowing that kind of connection is possible brings me hope, not just for myself, but for others too. It makes me happy to know there are people out there who truly love, who are willing to show up and do the work for someone they care about. And love doesn't have to be romantic. I care for my mother, who has Alzheimer's. I'm slowly losing the woman I once knew most days. She doesn't even recognize me. It's one of the cruelest diseases there is. I've already lost one parent, and while that was devastating, it was, in a way, quick. The grief was intense but straightforward. It came in waves, and over years it softened. But Alzheimer's is different. It's like living with a wound that keeps reopening. You grieve someone who's still here. And yet I love my mother so deeply that I've given up so much just to keep her with me. Some days I cry, I scream. I feel like I can't stand my life. But beneath it all is love. That's the reason I keep showing up. Right now, she is my reason to live. Right now, she is the love I need to remind myself that I'm capable of to give and to have. If you're asking this because you're feeling lost or unsure about what to live for, know this. Even when life feels heavy or overwhelming, there are still moments, small, quiet reminders of goodness that can show you things can get better. Those moments matter and make them be bigger than everything else. They're proof that good things can still find you and that you are deserving of them. Story 82. There is so much to experience in life, and while the bad experiences can be awful, it makes the happy times and new fun experiences that much more enjoyable. Story 83. Despite all the bad times, I just love to experience life and grow as a human. Reflecting on my own progress is fun. Also friends, also plants, and dog, and food, and so much more. Story 84. I don't have an answer for that. I have radical acceptance of passing. It doesn't scare me, as I don't believe in afterlife. There's nothing scary about nothingness for me. What scares me is the process of getting old and dying, not the passing itself. But I don't have any particular reason to live. Not that I'm depressed or anything, just in the great scheme of things, I am only one person whose life or passing is meaningless for the world. But maybe my life is a world to somebody else, and I don't want to hurt them. Story 85. I want to see what tomorrow brings. I had an indeterminate amount of time non-existence before I was born. I will have an indeterminate amount of time after I die. I only get a few decades to experience as much as I can in between. Story 86. Maybe I am waiting to stabilize and one day leave this place forever without informing anyone, to reside myself at France countryside and to make my home peaceful without any loudness or shouting. Story 87. I want to finish my book. I've been a writer my whole life, but I've never actually finished anything other than a few short stories. I want to finish this book and get it published, so I feel like I left my mark on the world. Even if I'm sure hardly anyone will actually read it, because social media had destroyed our attention spans. Story 88. Life is full of interesting things. Being dead is not interesting. Secondly, I want to be there for my family. And thirdly, I want to live in spite of all the assholes who've ever told me to eliminate myself or have hurt me. I recently heard that one of my abusers had died, and I was filled with joy. I want to outlive all of them and piss on their graves. Story 89. Gonna